You'll never become a millionaire unless you understand this concept, right? This is where you are right now, and this is where you want to be. Now, you see this space in the middle? I call this the performance gap. The difference between someone who becomes a millionaire and someone who's just getting by lies in their obsession with closing this gap. Most people's paths look something like this, up and down, all over the place, and they never reach their end goal. A person who becomes a millionaire in their 50s will have a path a bit more like this, eventually getting to their goal. Now, my path was a little bit different. I managed to go from point A to point P pretty quickly. To be honest, I think the only reason I managed to bridge this gap was because I didn't have any other options. I wasn't particularly talented or smart. I didn't have any qualifications to lean on. And after getting bullied by my first boss, I quit the usual 9-to-5 grind. So, I made a promise to myself to become wealthy as fast as possible. I did everything in my power to bridge the performance gap, and I became a millionaire in my 20s. If you only remember one thing from this video, then let it be this. The amount of money you make is always directly proportional to the amount of perceived value you give. To put it simply, the bigger the problems you're able to solve, the more money you'll make, and the faster you'll bridge the performance gap. So the first thing I want you to do is draw out a Venn diagram like this. In this section, I want you to write down the things you like to do. So if I was doing this, I'd put down racing cars, flying planes, traveling, and playing golf. I'm sure you have a lot of others you can add, so just go crazy with it. In this next one, write down the things you're good at. Off the top of my head, I'd say having conversations, building and designing models, leading teams, and carpentry. And finally, write down the things that people will pay you a lot for. Let's put down consulting, building structures, and designing complex mechanics. The trap that most people fall into is only considering one of these factors when they're deciding what they want to do with their life. I mean, imagine choosing a job just because you love it, but you're stuck making minimum wage, and before you know it, you're hating what you once loved. Talk about a passion killer. Or picture this. You're good at something, so you make it your job, but you're working your fingers to the bone and still not making enough money. You're stuck in your comfort zone, not really going anywhere. And then there's this scenario where you pick a job just because it pays well, which sounds good, right? Well, not if you're miserable every single day. That's why the only solution to becoming rich and happy is to find something that's in all sections. I call this the value zone. I managed to find this early on by combining my passion for model helicopters with my skill for building models and advice people would pay for. This led me to opening multiple model shops and designing my own brand of models that I sold across the globe. The problem with the way most people look at business is they want to find the side hustle or the method first and then try to fit themselves around it, rather than nailing down their value zone and then finding the correct side hustle to start for them. So now you know how to find your value zone. It's time to pick the right vehicle to drive you in a straight line to your destination. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have $1 million in assets or earn $1 million per year? Think about that for a second. Of course, you want both, right? Well, to do this, you're going to need two different vehicles. One for making money and the other one for investing money. Let's start with making money. This should be your active vehicle. Think of it like a motorbike. You can choose between a product-based business like I started, a content business like making YouTube videos, and my all-time favorite, a service-based business. So why is a service-based business my favorite when I produce products and also make YouTube videos? Might seem a bit strange, right? One-word timing. And I'm not talking within your value zone. Now, for investing money, this should be your passive vehicle. Think of it like the sidecar on your motorbike, like the one in Harry Potter. Loads of people treat investing like it's just another side hustle, chasing it with that same get-rich-quick mindset. But here's the real deal. Investing isn't about overnight riches. It's a tool to grow your wealth. And if you do it right, you can just set it and forget it. After you've made your free account, all you have to do is select has this one that focuses on companies that pay dividends, and this one here that invest in AI companies. Although this looks simple, please always do your own research into stocks you want to invest in, rather than just trusting the P creators. This pre-made option is great to give you some ideas, but I encourage you to make your own. So, let's go back to select build a custom pie. Now you can select whatever stocks you want to include in your pie. So if you're just a beginner, then simply click the S&P 500. Account Plus, you get more free stocks by inviting your friends. Both of you will get a free share as long as they fund their account. Right now, you've nailed down your value zone, got your active money-generating vehicle, and set up your passive investment app. It's time to think about the next step. One of the biggest lies gurus tell you is that you need 7 different income streams to become successful and reach your end goal. This causes people to get so caught up juggling multiple income sources and their social lives that they end up slowing down and losing their focus completely. You have 3 main limited resources: money, time, and energy. If you want to do this with me, grab a piece of paper and 3 different colored pens. Firstly, make a list of everything you do in your life. This should include everything. Now, draw a graph like this and divide it into segments corresponding to the number of items on your list. For my example, that would be 6 segments, but for you, it could be more or less. First, use a color to shade. To do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you find an excuse. So if you want to close the performance gap, then you need to understand the difference between obstacles and excuses. This is you, and these are your dreams. Between you and your dreams are obstacles, and these are what you need to overcome to make your dreams into reality. Looking back on my younger years, boy did I have it rough. I was dyslexic, and my teachers would often label me as lazy and stupid. I left with no qualifications to fall. Will eventually succeed. If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you've probably heard me say that your net worth goes crazy after $100,000, and the biggest reason for this is the compound effect. It's rumored that Albert Einstein even said, "Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." I've shown in the past how true this is for investing money, but this is even more important when it comes to your knowledge bank account. Most people fail to bridge the